The galaxy had long whispered about the arrival of a force so deadly it left entire civilizations in ruin. Known as the Galactic Reapers, these aliens were the embodiment of destruction, relentless warriors with technology that bent the laws of physics and an unquenchable thirst for conquest. When their massive warships emerged from the dark void near Earth's orbit, panic swept across humanity like wildfire. Their approach was silent but terrifying, like a storm ready to tear everything apart. Human sensors barely detected the alien fleet before it unleashed its first strike. Cities crumbled under precise, devastating energy beams, military bases evaporated in seconds, and communications fell silent one by one. The sheer scale of destruction was overwhelming. The Reapers moved with cold efficiency, showing no mercy or hesitation. Entire fleets dispatched in moments, their advanced weaponry cutting through Earth's defenses like paper. In the first hours, it became clear this was no ordinary enemy. They were the deadliest force humanity had ever faced. Despite the chaos, there was no surrender. Leaders from every corner of the world scrambled to form a unified front. Scientists and strategists worked frantically to understand the enemy's technology, while soldiers prepared to fight a war unlike any before. Fear lingered in every mind, but it was shadowed by something stronger: determination. The human race was faced with extinction, but the instinct to survive burned fiercely. From the rubble of the first attacks rose a new resolve. Humans began sharing intelligence globally, breaking decades of rivalry and mistrust. Old political tensions melted away in the face of the common threat. The decision was unanimous: fight or die, and fight they would. Not just with weapons, but with brains and heart. Humanity had no choice but to adapt, to learn from the invaders, to become something unexpected. The alien Reapers believed their victory was certain. Their technology was superior, their soldiers bred for war, and their conquests countless. To them, humans were just another primitive species, unworthy of notice beyond a swift eradication. But they underestimated the human spirit, a trait that no weapon could measure or destroy. Small teams of scientists discovered patterns in the Reapers' attack sequences. There was a rhythm, a predictability they could exploit. Engineers worked around the clock to retrofit captured alien tech, turning the enemy's own strength into a tool for survival. Soldiers trained in new tactics that embraced flexibility over brute force, striking fast and retreating before the Reapers could respond. In hidden underground bunkers and isolated outposts, humans prepared for the battles to come. Every man, woman, and child knew the stakes. The future of their species depended on what they would do next. Stories spread of people volunteering for dangerous missions, of communities banding together to protect one another, of simple acts of courage that defied the scale of the war. The Reapers launched their second wave of attacks, more brutal and targeted. Yet, this time, they met resistance that was unpredictable and fierce. The invaders faced ambushes in dense forests, traps in abandoned cities, and coordinated strikes from human pilots who had learned to outmaneuver the most advanced ships. The war had become a test of wills. Though the cost was staggering, humanity refused to break. They fought for every inch of land, every breath of freedom. The aliens' confidence began to falter as they encountered something they hadn't expected: respect earned through defiance. The deadliest aliens in the galaxy were now facing a species that refused to bow, a species that, despite all odds, stood tall. The first battle for Earth ended not with total destruction, but with a stalemate. The Reapers withdrew, surprised but not defeated. They left behind shattered cities and broken dreams, but also a message: humanity was no longer just prey. They were warriors in their own right, and the story of the deadliest aliens facing humans was only just beginning. The shock of the first encounter galvanized humanity into action. The devastation was immense, but so was the resolve to adapt and fight back. The Reapers' initial arrogance, their belief that humans were no more than insignificant creatures, quickly became their greatest weakness. Instead of cowering under the alien onslaught, humanity dug deep into its core strengths: creativity, adaptability, and unity. Scientists and military tacticians worked tirelessly to analyze every fragment of alien technology left behind. It wasn't just about replicating weapons but understanding the underlying principles and finding ways to exploit weaknesses. The Reapers operated on rigid tactics, relying on overwhelming force and precision strikes. Humans, however, embraced chaos and unpredictability, using guerrilla warfare and hit-and-run attacks that frustrated the alien invaders. Small squads learned to blend into Earth's varied terrain, from dense forests to sprawling urban ruins. They set traps, lured the invaders into ambushes, and used makeshift explosives fashioned from scavenged materials. The Reapers, with their advanced sensors and hierarchical command, were unprepared for this kind of fluid warfare. Their rigid structure left them vulnerable to rapid shifts and unconventional attacks. Beyond the battlefield, human ingenuity manifested in technology upgrades. Engineers reverse-engineered alien energy cells, creating weapons that combined human resilience with extraterrestrial power. Pilots trained relentlessly, developing new maneuvers that pushed their ships beyond designed limits. On the ground, soldiers learned to counter the Reaper's strength with teamwork and cunning, coordinating strikes with almost instinctual precision. The aliens had expected to crush humanity swiftly, but instead, they found a species that refused to be predictable or contained. Humans weren't just fighting to survive. They were learning and evolving. They turned weaknesses into strengths. Where the Reapers saw primitive creatures, humans demonstrated resourcefulness that no technology alone could match. This relentless pressure began to wear down the alien forces. Each failed attack forced them to adapt, but humans were always one step ahead. The Reapers grew frustrated as ambushes and sabotage inflicted losses they hadn't planned for. For the first time in countless wars, their supremacy was challenged not by firepower, but by sheer will and ingenuity. In the midst of this growing resistance, bonds between humans deepened. Soldiers who once came from different nations fought side by side as brothers and sisters. Civilians played their part by supporting frontline operations, creating safe havens, and passing along intelligence. It was a collective effort driven by a singular goal: to protect their home and prove their worth. The alien commanders began to acknowledge the unexpected challenge. Reports circulated of their soldiers speaking in hushed tones about the primitive bipeds who refused to fall. Their confidence was shaken. This was no easy conquest. It was a war against a species that possessed an indomitable spirit. Then came the turning point. In a daring raid deep inside alien-occupied territory, a small human team struck at a critical supply depot. The attack crippled the Reapers' logistics and sent shockwaves through their ranks. It was a clear message: humans were no longer the hunted. They were hunters now. That victory reverberated across Earth and beyond. It reignited hope, proving that the deadliest aliens could be challenged and even defeated. The battle was far from over, but the tables had turned. Humanity had earned its place at the table, not as victims but as worthy opponents. In the face of overwhelming odds, humans showed what set them apart: the ability to adapt, to work together, and to fight with heart. The galaxy was watching, and the deadliest aliens were learning a new truth: humans were not to be underestimated. The final confrontation was inevitable. The alien Reapers, once confident in their swift domination, now faced a humanity that refused to be crushed. The battlefield was no longer just about technology or numbers. It was about spirit, honor, and sheer willpower. Humans fought not only to survive but to prove something far greater: that they belonged among the stars as equals. Despite being outgunned and outnumbered, the defenders held their ground with a ferocity that shocked even the coldest alien commanders. Every human soldier, pilot, and strategist knew that this was more than a fight for survival. It was a fight for respect. Their courage stemmed from protecting what mattered most: their families, their homes, their freedom. In the midst of the chaos, leadership emerged from unlikely places. Ordinary people rose to inspire and unite others, rallying their comrades with words and actions that rekindled hope. Sacrifices were made without hesitation, lives willingly given to hold the line or buy time for others. These acts of bravery spread like wildfire, fueling the determination of those still standing. Humans exploited every advantage gained through months of hard lessons. They combined guerrilla tactics with advanced technology, striking fast and withdrawing before the Reapers could respond. Coordinated attacks targeted the enemy's command centers and supply lines, gradually breaking their control and momentum. The aliens, who had once dismissed humans as insignificant, found themselves facing a relentless adversary who adapted to every challenge. The rigidity of their command structure clashed with humanity's fluid tactics and unpredictability. Each encounter chipped away at the Reapers' confidence, forcing them to reconsider their assumptions. Amid the battle's darkest moments, there were instances of humanity's compassion and honor shining through. Prisoners were treated with dignity, civilians were shielded wherever possible, and even the fiercest warriors showed respect to their opponents. These values were alien to the Reapers but deeply human, reinforcing the profound difference between the two species. One pivotal moment came when a human commander, against all odds, led a desperate counterattack that turned the tide of the battle. Using a combination of alien tech and human ingenuity, they disabled the enemy's flagship communications, plunging the Reapers into disarray. The loss was a blow that shattered their morale and marked the beginning of their retreat. As the Reapers withdrew, the galaxy took notice. The humans had stood firm against the deadliest invaders, and in doing so, earned a rare and grudging respect. They were no longer seen as prey or primitive creatures but as worthy adversaries, and perhaps future allies. The war left scars on both sides, but it also left a legacy. Humanity had proven that survival was not enough. It was the refusal to bow, the will to fight with honor and intelligence, that defined them. The battle was won not just through weapons, but through the strength of the human spirit. The alien invaders may have retreated, but they carried with them a lasting impression, one that would echo across the stars. Humans were not just survivors, they were warriors, and the galaxy would never forget that the deadliest aliens faced humans and walked away changed forever. The war's end marked the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. Though the scars of battle ran deep, destroyed cities, lost lives, and fractured societies, the victory over the deadliest aliens reshaped humanity's place in the cosmos. The galaxy, once indifferent or dismissive, now regarded Earth with a mixture of caution and respect. Humans had proven they were more than just another species to be conquered. They were formidable, resilient, and worthy. News of humanity's resistance spread quickly across alien worlds. Other civilizations, many of which had suffered quietly under the shadow of the Reapers, watched closely as humans stood their ground. The tales of human ingenuity, courage, and unyielding spirit reached even the most distant corners of space. Suddenly, Earth was no longer a backwater planet but a beacon of strength and hope in a dangerous galaxy. Diplomatic channels that had been dormant or hostile for centuries began to open. Alien leaders who once dismissed humanity now approached with caution and curiosity. Offers of alliances, trade, and knowledge exchange surfaced, signaling a new era where humans were not outsiders but equals in the galactic community. The respect earned through conflict translated into opportunities for growth and cooperation. Back on Earth, the psychological impact of the war was profound. A sense of pride and unity flourished, born from shared struggle and victory. Humanity emerged from the crisis more connected, more aware of its potential, and more determined than ever to protect its future. The generations who lived through the war carried a legacy of resilience that shaped cultural identity and inspired those born after. Rebuilding was no easy task. The damage inflicted by the Reapers required decades of effort and innovation. Yet, this challenge fueled human determination. Cities were rebuilt stronger, technology advanced rapidly, and societies adapted to the knowledge that the universe was far more dangerous and exciting than previously imagined. Humanity also changed internally. The war taught hard lessons about cooperation, sacrifice, and vigilance. Governments collaborated more openly, sharing intelligence and resources. Scientific communities pushed boundaries, focusing on technologies that could defend against future threats or explore the stars. Military strategies evolved, blending the lessons learned from both human creativity and alien technology. But most importantly, the war reinforced a fundamental truth at the heart of humanity: the indomitable spirit that refuses to surrender, no matter the odds. This spirit, more than weapons or technology, had earned humanity its place among the stars. It was a reminder that respect in the galaxy came not just from power, but from courage, honor, and unity. As Earth's horizon stretched toward the vast unknown, humans faced the future with eyes wide open. They knew the threats were far from over, but they also knew they were no longer alone or vulnerable. The deadliest aliens had come, tested humanity's limits, and walked away changed. And humanity, scarred but unbroken, stood ready for whatever challenges awaited next. The story of humans facing the deadliest aliens and walking away respected was no longer just a tale of survival. It was a testament to what it meant to be truly human, to stand tall against impossible odds and to rise stronger because of them.